Hi guys, welcome back to Nico Talks Hockey. Today I'm going to talk about Kirill Kaprizov and the report from Frank Saravalli and as well as Michael Russo, the number one journalist and beat reporter in Minnesota, saying that Kirill turned down an offer of 8 years, 16 mil per year of a contract extension for the Minnesota Wild. If that report is true, it changes a lot, and it has got everyone thinking, and I'm no exception, as to where if he leaves Minnesota, if one of the top 10 best players in the league leaves Minnesota, where's he going? Where's he going to go? So I think that this is I'm projecting as like, okay, he after the season, he like as like a UFA, he chooses where he goes. It's not like I'm not projecting like if he gets traded during the season. I'm not saying that he necessarily signs an extension with the team that he's traded to. It's more like once the season's over, where is he going to choose to settle down and sign with? So these are the top 10 most likely destinations for Kirill Kaprizov to sign a contract with if he leaves Minnesota. I want to preface this with I'm not saying that he will leave Minnesota. I don't want him to necessarily. I like Minnesota as a team. I wish them success. I've always hoped that I could see them win a cup in my lifetime just because they're the state of hockey and they've never won a Stanley Cup. So that's kind of like crazy and blasphemy. Um, Minnesota has so much going for them. They've got good contract situations. They've got a great crop, one of the best prospect pools in the league. They're gonna be really good. So I think that it would maybe be a mistake for Kirill Kaprizov to leave, but that is neither here nor there. We are here for where he's gonna go if he leaves. So we'll start with the. This is the top 10 most likely, so we'll start with 10 and go and work our way up. So at number 10, I have the Boston Bruins. I think that with the rising cap, for all these teams, we're gonna have to factor in that everyone's gonna have money, right? Everyone's gonna have money. Definitely gonna be some teams who have more and are more flexible and can throw a ton at him. But I don't think it's all about the money. It can be a lot about the players and the situation they've got and the destination. I think that I'm getting the sense that Kirill Kaprizov cares a ton about the destination. And you'll see as we get closer to my top two here and predictions for where he will end up if he leaves. It's a lot about the destination and the place that he wants to go to. So yeah, Boston Bruins. Yeah, I think that having an opportunity to play alongside someone like David Pastrnak. It's also an original six franchise, so there's a lot of history there. It's out in the East, so I don't know if maybe he wants a break from the Western Conference and go to the Eastern Conference, maybe. But yeah, it's something that's definitely much more on the map than the Wild. The Boston Bruins are one of the most popular and famous teams in the league, so maybe he wants to go to the Bruins there with David Pastrnak. Moving on to number 9, I think the Philadelphia Flyers come in at number 9, and they have a very decent shot of signing him. A lot of that hinges on the Russian factor. Michkov, right? If they were able to get Michkov there, and Michkov wanted to go to Philadelphia, he wanted to go to Philly so bad. He said to other teams that he was only going to sign with Philly. That was a report that I'd heard, and I never heard anything contrary to that. So I'm led to believe that that's true. I don't really know why that's true, but they got him. They got him, and they got him over from Russia. They were able to get him out of the KHL. So if Kirill Kaprizov is trying to form some long-term friendship and crazy, partnership with Michkov for many years to come, I think Philly would be a really good place and would absolutely be what this team needs, which is, every team needs a top 10 player in the league. But for a team that's trying to get out of their rebuild, and I think they want to do it soon. Like, they're a team that does not want to be bad for a while. So, yeah. Number 9, Philly. At number 8, I think it's the New York Islanders. I think they also have a really good shot at landing him. A lot of it actually is due to the Russian factor as well. They've got a lot of guys there, like Sitlakov, Shabanov, I think, is there, right? They've just got a lot of Russian guys there now that are building up. And, you know, I think that there's a team. I'm going to spoil a little bit of the future for this video. The Rangers are quite high on this list. So I've heard reports that, he likes New York, and who wouldn't? New York is such an electric place to play. So if it ends up not working with the Rangers, if you can't go to the Rangers, why not choose the other New York team and go to the Islanders? So, they're building something there in the Isle, and they're going to soon have a lot of money if they can move some of those veteran contracts. They just got the number 1 overall pick. They're in store, I think, to have another very high pick this year. So I think they're a very decent chance at landing Kaprizov with the Russian factor, along with it being New York. At number 7, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think they've got a very good shot at landing Kaprizov. They've got some Russian guys there for sure, Marchenko and Voronkov. And that's a team that's just budding with talent. I mean, it's young talent, and it's not yet developed fully talent, but it's absolutely a team that is okay with like Russian players. There's a lot of Russian players that are there, and so I think that if that's something that is factoring into, again, we don't really know exactly what's going to go into where he ends up picking if he ends up leaving the Minnesota Wild. It's a big if. Again, I want to preface that for any grief-stricken Minnesota Wild fans watching potentially. But yeah, I think that Blue Jackets, a lot of Russian players, ton of promise, and obviously he'll be at the top of the lineup there, getting to cook with players like Adam Fantilli and Marchenko. So it's a great place to be, and I think that more players are going to wisen up to jumping on the Columbus hype train in the near future. At number 6, just missing the top 5 most likely destinations for where Kirill might go. At number 6, I have the Carolina Hurricanes. They have to be involved, I think, in any of these like big player where they're going to go discussions, because they have so much cap space, and they're a team that proves year in and year out. They haven't won the cup yet, but with this core, but they're a team that proves year in and year out they're going to be competitive, and they're going to have a great shot at the cup. Everyone likes playing for Rod Brind'Amour. It's a really good potential place for him to go. So if he's okay with maybe not getting as many minutes a night as he does in Minnesota, he'll probably get a little bit less, because just the way that Rod Brind'Amour runs his lines, it's much more spaced out, and it's not like the first line gets so much more ice time than the rest of the lines. But he gets to play with Aho and Ehlers now, and Svechnikov and Jarvis, and have such a sturdy defense behind him, in Slavin, and it's just a great place to go to, and they have so much cap space. They'll absolutely have no problem being able to sign him, and they're a team that's looking to sign star players, and they tried signing Gensel, excuse me, for long term. They tried Mikko Rantanen. That didn't work out. They're looking for that guy, the superstar, to finally take them, move them beyond just the third round, and have them finally win that Stanley Cup. Moving into the top 5 here, though, this team, I hummed and hawed about placing them this high, but it's LA. It's the LA Kings, the Los Angeles Kings. And I put them this high because it is LA. If this is a player that's looking for, the big time, if you're in Russia and you think about America and you think about playing in the best hockey league in the world, the NHL, then you think about like all these big markets, and LA is one of the biggest. So you might, I could see him going there. They absolutely have the cap space. They've been trying to sign just like Carolina, excuse me, but they've been trying just like Carolina to sign that big time superstar, and he would absolutely take them farther than where they've gone. I have no doubts about it that they would move past the first round with Kirill Kaprizov, because they've got a decent team right now. But so they're going to try really hard. Ken Holland's going to try really hard, but we'll see if they get it done. My apologies. I had to drink some water. My throat was cooked. But moving into the top four here, at number four of most likely destinations for Kirill, I have the Washington Capitals, and this is a lot due to the Russian factor. This is probably the most reliant on that factor. You know, obviously Alexander Ovechkin, they've got no problem with lots of young prospects who are Russian. It's just, yeah, I mean, Kuznetsov, right, for a while there. They are the most Russian-friendly team in the NHL. So it stands to reason I had to put Capitals up very, very high. And if Ovechkin stays maybe one more season, he gets to play with Ovechkin, for at least a year. For a year, probably, right? But and even if not, if he goes before he gets to Washington, it's something that will give him every day something to strive for. Of like, I'm following in Alexander Ovechkin's footsteps. I'm gonna be the successor to him. It would give him so much purpose and so much drive. I think that it's a very, very likely destination for Kirill if he ends up leaving Minnesota. We're moving in the top three here. This is like teams that I think have very, very, I think they're much more likely than a lot of the rest of the league, the entire rest of the league, right? So at number three, I have the Detroit Red Wings. This is a team that needs and wants to win so very badly. They need to get in the playoffs like yesterday. And they have so much cap space. They still have the cap space, which makes me think that Steve Yzerman is waiting for something like this. He's waiting for an opportunity to arise where they're like, okay, I want to go to Original Six franchise and I want to be part of them, the turnaround. Like Patrick Kane, right? I want to go to another Original Six franchise and I want to be able to help the turnaround where, restore this team to its former glory. So they've got tons and tons of cap space. They can absolutely fit him in, and he'll get to play with a ton of young and some older really good players there in Detroit. Moving to the top two. At number two, I already referenced them. At number two, it's the New York Rangers. I think that they are the second most likely team if Kirill decides that Minnesota's not for him. And this is so many reasons, right? It's New York for one. This is the place that everyone wants to go to. It's like, I know they've had their kind of off-ice shenanigans of like, the GM pulling stuff that's not very player-friendly, right? But it's still got the reputation of it being, it's New York, it's New York City, it's the Big Apple, and everyone wants to play where the lights are brightest, or at least that's what you should want as a superstar sports player. So that's one factor. Another factor is that there is the Panarin connection, a Russian connection, and if you could play with Panarin, who I know he's got some ties to. I don't know how close they are, but for all I know, they could be really close and they could be really good friends. Both somewhat around the same age, both Russian, and maybe Panarin woos him to New York. And then the New York Rangers are never gonna. I think they're always gonna try and stay hyper competitive. They're a team that has a really good shot of making the playoffs like pretty much every year. And obviously they haven't won it, and they haven't won it recently. But if Kirill Kaprizov comes to New York, I think a lot of analysts will have New York winning the cup. So yeah, New York comes in at number two, but at number one, it's the Chicago Blackhawks, and it's largely due to the rumors and reports from last season where there was just this weird kind of flux that came in and it went away as quickly as it came in. But there was reports that Kirill, if he were to leave Minnesota, Chicago was at the top of his choices and desired locations to go to. It's surprising to me. I mean, I'm biggest Hawks fan you'll find around, but they're not there yet, right? They haven't proven yet that they're going to be a playoff team like in the immediate future. I think it's close. I think it's closer than some people would have. I think some people would say they're still 4 or 5 years away from being a playoff team. I don't agree with that. I think they're 1 to 2 years away from being a playoff team. But, maybe Kirill sees it differently. Maybe he wants to play with, a future absolute superstar in Connor Bedard. and maybe sees that this team is really growing here. And also, I think the location, I think that helps a lot. Maybe he just fell in love with the city. I don't really know, but I'd love to hear more about it. We're gonna hear more about it, right? Because the Bill Guerin, Billy G, he addressed it, but he didn't outright say that. No, Kirill never turned down the contract offer we offered him of 8 years, 16 mil per. He never, Bill Guerin never refuted that, right? So I think that speaks volumes. And right now, I do have Chicago as my number one destination. And obviously, as a Blackhawks fan, I'm sorry, Wild fans, but I would be so freaking happy. I'd be so elated if Kaprizov comes to town. Obviously, I don't want to sign him for like, I don't know, 17 mil or more a year. That would suck, but the cap is going up, and if he can be potentially the Marian Hossa type acquisition, he'd be better, obviously, right? Like Hossa is my favorite player of all time, but Kaprizov is is a generational talent. So it would be unbelievable to have one of the best prospect pools in the league today blossoming up, and then you add Kirill Kaprizov to that. Man, watch out if that happens. But yeah, that's my list, my top 10 destinations of where, if Kirill Kaprizov is unhappy in Minnesota and is looking to leave that destination, where will he go? This is where I think he will go. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please consider subscribing. That would mean so much to me. And I will see you guys in the next video.